the alien structures inside Earth, LLSVPs. From the surface of the Earth, we have only been able to directly explore a few kilometers deep. But beneath that, thousands of kilometers down there, exists a completely invisible world, where pressure, temperature, and the behavior of matter go far beyond what we're familiar with. The only way to learn about this invisible world is through earthquakes. When a major earthquake occurs, it sends waves of energy through the interior of the Earth. These waves, especially shear waves, or S-waves, travel at different speeds through the various layers of the Earth. Scientists record these waves using seismic stations set up all around the globe, and by analyzing their speed and path, they create a three-dimensional map of Earth's interior. This method is called seismic tomography. While building these tomographic maps, scientists noticed something strange. Deep in Earth's mantle, just above the core, roughly 2,900 kilometers below the surface, there are two massive regions where shear waves travel unusually slowly. These structures are called Large Low Shear Velocity Provinces, or LLSVPs for short. These two regions are located on nearly opposite sides of the Earth, one beneath Africa and the other beneath the Pacific Ocean. They are so enormous that they are sometimes described as continents within the Earth. But it's not just their size that's remarkable, their nature is even more mysterious. According to seismic data, these regions are not just different from the surrounding mantle, they are significantly denser and chemically distinct. This difference is so clear that scientists are certain these structures are not made of ordinary mantle material. So what are they? Early theories suggested they might be piles of ancient oceanic plates that sank from Earth's surface over billions of years, a process known as subduction. But there's a problem with that explanation. Subducted plates are generally cold and dense, and they gradually blend into the mantle over time. However, the density and thermal properties of LLSVPs point to something that is difficult to explain through subduction alone. This is where a more complex and far more debated theory comes in. About 4.5 billion years ago, when the solar system was still in its early stages of formation, a Mars-sized protoplanet collided with Earth. This hypothetical planet is called Theia. The collision was so powerful that a massive portion of Earth's outer layers was blasted into space, and current scientific models suggest that the moon formed from that debris. But some recent research has raised a new question. What if not all the material from that collision escaped into space? What if parts of Theia sank into the Earth's interior and stayed there permanently? Some computer simulations have shown that after the collision, heavier materials could have sunk deep into the Earth and settled stably at the bottom of the mantle. The density and composition of such materials partially match the characteristics of LLSVPs. In other words, one possibility is that the LLSVPs we see today may not be part of Earth itself, but rather the remnants of an ancient alien planet. However, one important point must be made clear. This is still a theory. Scientists do not yet agree. Some studies suggest LLSVPs may be the result of natural convection processes in the mantle where different materials have separated and accumulated over billions of years. Others argue that these are ancient layers that have existed since Earth's earliest formation. Furthermore, these structures may play a significant role in Earth's geodynamics. Some studies have shown that major volcanic activity on Earth, such as in Hawaii or Iceland, may be connected to the edges of these LLSVPs. Thermal plumes rising from deep within the mantle are thought to originate from the boundaries of these regions. This means these mysterious structures are not just relics of the past, they are also tied to the present-day dynamics of our planet. And yet, we still have no direct samples. We have never reached these regions, and we likely won't in the near future. All of our information comes indirectly through seismic waves, computer models, and laboratory simulations. That's what makes this mystery even deeper. Because we're talking about something hidden at the very core of the Earth, something that may be directly connected to the story of our planet's birth. In the end, the question remains, are LLSVPs simply a natural formation within Earth's interior? Or are they silent witnesses to an ancient collision in our solar system? So far, science has not been able to give a definitive answer. But with every new study, every new piece of seismic data, we get a little closer to that invisible world. And perhaps one day, we'll be able to say with certainty, what exactly is hiding beneath our feet? The living statue epidemic, encephalitis lethargica. During World War I, when death was a daily reality across the world, another strange disease began to spread silently. People were suddenly falling asleep. But the problem wasn't just sleep. Many patients reached a state where they remained conscious with their eyes open, but their bodies were completely frozen. This disease was named encephalitis lethargica. What was happening? First came fever, headaches, and fatigue. Then deep drowsiness. Then a strange, eerie stillness. The patients could not speak, could not move, but in many cases, could understand everything around them. Doctors began calling them living statues. How large was this epidemic? An estimated 1 million people were infected. Approximately 500,000 deaths. Thousands of people remained trapped in the same condition for years on end. They were alive, but had no control over their own lives. What was the cause? This remains the greatest mystery. No specific virus was ever identified. No proven link to the influenza outbreak. The leading theory: an autoimmune reaction where the body was attacking its own brain. The part of the brain that controls movement was the most severely damaged. By the 1930s, this disease suddenly disappeared, with no cure, with no clear explanation. And even today, modern medicine has no definitive cause for it. The final question: a disease that turned people into living statues, spread across the entire world, then vanished without a trace. Has it truly ended? The immortal jellyfish. For every living creature on Earth, one rule has remained nearly unbreakable: birth, growth, aging, and death. But deep in the ocean, there exists a creature that challenges this rule. This tiny, nearly transparent jellyfish is called Turritopsis dohrnii, often referred to as the immortal jellyfish. It is not truly immortal, but its ability is so extraordinary that biologists consider it the only real-world example of biological time reversal. Like other jellyfish, its life cycle begins as a polyp, juvenile stage, which then develops into a full-grown medusa, or adult jellyfish. This is normally where the path toward death begins, but for this species, the story doesn't end there. When this jellyfish faces physical injury, lack of food, or environmental stress, it begins an unbelievable process. It contracts its body, sinks to the ocean floor, and starts to completely reprogram its cells. This process is called transdifferentiation, where a specialized cell, such as a muscle cell, directly transforms into a different type of cell, such as a nerve cell or a stem-like cell, without going through an intermediate stem cell stage. A fully grown jellyfish reverts back to its polyp state. In other words, it reverses its own life cycle and begins life anew with the same genetic identity. This process can happen not just once, but multiple times. Theoretically, if this jellyfish is not caught by a predator or killed by some external cause, it can restart its life over and over again. Aging for it is not a final boundary. For scientists, this ability is incredibly important because it challenges our understanding of aging itself. In the human body, cells perform specific roles and generally cannot change those roles. But this jellyfish shows us, given the right signals, cells can completely reorganize themselves. Research suggests that genetic regulation, intercellular communication, and bioelectric signals may play a key role in this process. However, scientists still don't know with certainty what exactly is the trigger that initiates this transformation. This is where the mystery deepens even further. Because if we could fully understand this process, it could revolutionize regenerative medicine and cellular reconstruction technology, repairing damaged tissue, slowing down aging, and in some cases, even resetting cells entirely could all become possibilities. But the reality is we are still far from achieving this. Turritopsis dohrnii gives us a glimpse of what's possible, but full control over that process is still beyond our reach. It reminds us nature is capable of things we have not yet fully understood. In the end, the question remains, if a tiny jellyfish can reverse time, then where exactly is the limit of life? The mysterious roar of space, the space roar. We generally think of space as silent, empty, soundless, dark, but the reality is slightly different. In the world of radio waves, the universe is actually filled with constant signals, stars, galaxies. Even black holes are continuously radiating energy. But in 2006, scientists detected a signal that threw all their calculations into question. NASA's Arcade 2 experiment was originally designed to measure the ancient residual heat of the universe, cosmic background radiation. It was sent up to the upper layers of Earth's atmosphere via a high-altitude balloon, where terrestrial radio interference is minimal. The goal was straightforward: to measure the faint signals that have survived since the Big Bang. But what they found was beyond anything they expected. The instrument detected an abnormally powerful, omnipresent radio noise, which later became known as the space roar. It wasn't coming from any single source. Instead, it was spread uniformly across the entire sky. Even stranger, the intensity of this signal was so high that it was several times stronger than the combined emissions of all known radio sources. Galaxies, quasars, supernovae, everything. In other words, everything we know added together still can't explain this signal. At first, scientists thought it might be unknown radiation coming from our own galaxy, the Milky Way. But data analysis showed that this signal is not consistent with the galaxy's position. It is distributed in a way that suggests it's coming from the deep, distant parts of the universe. Another possibility was that countless tiny, unseen galaxies were collectively generating this excess radio energy. But current observations provide no evidence for so many invisible galaxies that could account for this level of intensity. Additionally, cosmic dust, plasma, or any known astrophysical process doesn't fully match the characteristics of this signal either. One giant unknown. What is this roar actually? Is it coming from a source we haven't identified yet? Or is our fundamental understanding of the universe still incomplete? Scientists are still working on this signal with new telescopes, new data, and new models. But so far, no single explanation has gained universal acceptance. Space is not silent, we know that now. But where this sound is coming from, that is still a mystery. And perhaps this mystery reminds us, we still don't know the full story of the universe. Fast radio burst signals from an unknown source. Most signals from space are slow, continuous, and predictable. But in 2007, astronomers detected a signal that broke all the rules of burst, lasting only a few milliseconds, yet releasing as much energy in that tiny window as the sun emits over the course of years. This phenomenon is called a fast radio burst, or FRB. At first, many assumed it was an instrument malfunction. A signal that powerful, yet that brief, didn't seem like it could be real. But then, more telescopes began detecting similar signals. It became clear this was real, and it was coming from deep within the universe. What makes FRBs especially fascinating is their variety. Some appear only once, while others repeat from the same source. These repeating FRBs are particularly important to scientists because their locations can be pinpointed. Research has shown that some FRBs are coming from distant galaxies billions of light years away. So what is generating these bursts? One of the most widely accepted theories is magnetars, a type of neutron star with one of the most powerful magnetic fields in the universe. When a magnetar's magnetic field suddenly collapses or reorganizes, it can release enormous bursts of radio energy. In 2020, a signal was detected from a magnetar within our own galaxy, the Milky Way, that behaved like an FRB. This finding strengthened the theory considerably. But the problem is not all FRBs fit this explanation. Some signals are so incredibly powerful and behave so strangely that magnetars alone are not enough to explain them. In some cases, the signals repeat in unusually regular or complex patterns, which are still not fully understood. The result? An incomplete picture. We know they are real. We know they are coming from distant galaxies, but we still don't know for certain what is behind all of them. Fast radio bursts have opened a new window for us into the most powerful and extreme events in the universe. Events we never even imagined before. And perhaps, hidden within these fleeting signals are clues to processes in the universe that we have not yet fully understood. The alien structures inside Earth, LLSVPs, revisited. Standing on the surface of the Earth, everything we see, continents, oceans, mountains, is really just a thin outer layer. Beneath it, thousands of kilometers deep, there is a region we cannot directly observe, but whose influence extends across the entire planet. To map this invisible world, scientists use earthquake waves which travel through the Earth at different speeds. And from those differences, we can infer the structure of the interior. Through this method, scientists discovered two enormous regions located deep in Earth's mantle, just above the core. These are called Large Low Shear Velocity Provinces, or LLSVPs. One lies beneath Africa, and the other beneath the Pacific Ocean. They are so massive they can practically be called continents inside the Earth. But what makes them mysterious is how different they are. Seismic waves travel slowly through these regions, indicating that their density and chemical composition differ from the surrounding mantle. In other words, they are not part of Earth's normal structure. This is where the big question begins. Where did these structures come from? One theory suggests they may be piles of subducted tectonic plates that have accumulated at the bottom over billions of years. But another theory goes even deeper, proposing that these regions may be the remains of an ancient planet. About 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized protoplanet called Theia collided with Earth. That collision is believed to have given birth to the Moon, but some research suggests that not all the material from that collision was launched into space. Instead, some of it may have sunk deep into the Earth and remained there ever since. If that idea is correct, then LLSVPs could be structures that are quite literally not of this Earth. But no final conclusion has been reached. Scientists are not in agreement. Some say it's the result of Earth's internal processes. Others believe it's a memory of an ancient collision. But one thing is certain, we have not yet fully understood the inside of the Earth. Beneath our feet, something may be hiding that could not only rewrite geology, but also rewrite the history of Earth's birth. And that is why this mystery is far from over.